Thank you very much. I thank you also for the organizers that created an opportunity for me to present here in the framework of big projects that could change the status of the economy, the world economy, and in the Ethiopian example, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam project. Before that, I just want to give you some background why we came to the conclusion of constructing the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam on the Nile River. Ethiopia is the source of the Blue Nile. Together with the White Nile, it goes in the Nile to Egypt. Now, it's obvious that this kind of water, which has an international course, have to be regulated in the agreement of all riparian countries. However, there were two agreements among three countries between 1951 and 1957, and these were between Sudan and Egypt, and the third country was the British colony, as usual. Now, this has to be changed. It should not be changed to the detriment of Egypt or other countries, but it should be changed in a framework of using all the resources available equitably and justifiably. So in this framework, we have been negotiating for the last 10 years under the auspices of the Nile Basin Initiative. So all 10 riparian countries of the Nile were negotiating for the last 10 years in order to arrive at a conclusion that will satisfy all 10 riparian countries. Now, what we have reached after 10 years of negotiation is that there will be a commission, which is called the Nile Basin Commission, where its headquarters will be in Uganda, and which is going to oversee projects among these 10 riparian countries. And that's what we were looking for, not to use all the resources for once or for ourselves only, and then to let the others drive into poverty, but to use it equitably, justifiably among all of us, and to bring harmony among the African nations. So this is the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The decision to build the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is a central element in the country's ambitious growth and transformation plan. Now, why we call it Renaissance, a bit word on that. We found ourselves now in the third millennia. It is believed that, and it's also in the history books of the world, where in the first millennia, Ethiopia was among the decision makers in the world. It was a breadbasket. Whereas when we come to the second millennia, it is the public knowledge where Ethiopia has found itself. Poverty, hungry, famine, including where the Oxford Dictionary, it has just changed its meaning some 2-3 weeks ago. But if you try to find the meaning of the word famine in the Oxford Dictionary, you will find written as an example, Ethiopia. So now this history should be changed categorically. Ethiopia cannot see forever its population facing hungry, famine, war, but there is a solution in its own hands. So this was one of the solutions. This Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, we believe, will also bring Ethiopia again into the position where it was in the first millennium, a renaissance of Ethiopia. It will help mobilize the necessary resources to unlock economic development by exporting power to the neighboring countries and demonstrate the government's commitment to strengthen cooperation and equitable utilization by all the riparian Nile states and the benefits that will accrue to all of them. As the late Prime Minister Meles has indicated, Sudan and Egypt have much to gain from owning the project, from co-owning the project. Now, that's what we are looking for. According to the late Prime Minister, the suggestion was to finance the project 50% by Ethiopia, 30% by Egypt, 20% by Sudan. Why? Because, as my colleague Rashwan knows it, Ayman knows it, excuse me, Egypt and Sudan, even though they utilize the Nile River, they at the same time face also some problems. What are the problems? Egypt is facing, for example, losing on the desert some 10 billion cubic meters of water. It's not used by Egypt, it's just evaporated. And then Egypt's dams also are having a water decreasing from time to time because of soil, what we call, as engineers say it, when the dams are much fueled by soil and then start having lower or smaller amount of water. Now, this is Egypt's problem. Sudan, every rain season, there are 3 months of rain season in Ethiopia. Within these 3 months, Sudan suffers by flood. The water is too high, flowing too high on the Nile, including the capital city, Khartoum, is flooded every year. Now, building this Ethiopian Grand Renaissance Dam on the site where it is now chosen will solve the problems of Egypt, the problem of Sudan, and it will also be useful for Ethiopia, which will bring it again back to normal. That's why it suggested that it has to be co-owned by 3 of them, co-financed by 3 of them, and used under the principle of equitable and justifiable use of international water courses. The message that this project sends is very clear. There can be no turning back from the grandest of all projects, namely to pull Ethiopia out of the quagmire of poverty. Equally, this will create opportunities for all those who have been reluctant to participate in the past to think again and become involved in this monument to the peoples of Ethiopia and to their lasting commitment to the eradication of poverty in Ethiopia and to a world of cooperation among the countries of the Nile Basin and the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia's long-term potential for exploitable energy is estimated at around 60,000 megawatts with hydropower, providing 45,000 megawatts, which is the total potential is 60,000 megawatts. Hydropower can cover 45,000 megawatts, geothermal 10,000, and other wind and other energy sources some 5,000. However, from the 45,000 hydropower potential, Ethiopia has so far used only 2,000. Now, you can imagine the potential that could take out of the poverty Ethiopia. In the meantime, to fill the needs of the current plans for the next 5 years, it has been necessary to initiate a number of energy developments, which is one of them is the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Before this dam, there was another one which we have seen it also in the past presentation, the Gilgel Gibe 3 Dam, which generated some 1,870 megawatts, which is now under attack by the so-called environmentalists, green politicians, especially what you call the those Survival International. Yeah, it is a guess of everybody who could finance this NGO to attack Ethiopia over the use of its own water. The objectives of the project are to generate electric power. Now, this Renaissance Dam will generate, when it is finished, some 6,000 megawatts of hydroelectric power. When all projects which are now under the pipeline finished, we will reach producing some 10,000 megawatt electricity. Now, still the potential is higher, but even within this limit, 10,000 megawatts, we believe that we will not only use it for ourselves, but electricity can be exported also to other neighboring countries, far into Egypt, and it can go through years, through the Mediterranean, and we believe, the potential of exporting power, hydroelectric power, including to the Mediterranean Sea and other South European countries. Now, you can see that a country having huge potential to develop could not develop. Why is this? And this is, I think, within the framework of what we are discussing, that I think things are not working correctly, and it has to be changed. One way of changing from ourselves, from the Ethiopian side, is doing this way, for example. Concentrating on big projects that could benefit not only Ethiopia, but the whole Africa, as we have witnessed the past presentation by my colleague, Ayman, which is also to the benefit of all African nations. The other point what I wanted to stress here is we do not believe that, and we have witnessed it also here practically, that the markets could be left to decide themselves. We don't believe on that. We believe that it has to be regulated. The states should have to have also a balanced hand to regulate the markets, and it is in that framework we have been working for the last 20 years now. It is anybody's guess, and it's a public knowledge, that how Ethiopia looked like some 20 years ago and now. We speak about a new Ethiopia now on the basis of the economic policy we have followed. We have reached that, for example, Ethiopia has registered for the last 8 years consecutively an average of 11% economic growth. And we believe that such kind of projects, again, will bring us into the bright future where we can save also the next generation. Thank you very, very much for listening.